This is a tragic incident that has come to light from South Bengaluru, where a 55-year-old man and his 19-year-old daughter were killed after the state-run Bengaluru Electric Supply Company's transformer exploded. The 19-year-old Chaitanya's marriage had recently been fixed, and the duo were returning after booking a marriage hall. Both father and daughter were passing by the transformer on a scooter when the explosion took place. And they had to slow down because the roads there were really bad. So that is an added woe which Bengaluruans have to suffer every day. Locals had already informed the BESCOM authorities regarding this particular issue of oil leak from the transformer, but there was zero action that was taken. Karnataka Energy Minister Sunil Kumar has admitted that there has been a clear negligence on part of the BESCOM officials, but in a mere lip service, he has ordered an audit of all BESCOM transformers. The case of negligence has also now been filed against BESCOM officials.
Now in Bengaluru city, if bad roads weren't enough, water problems weren't enough, well, this, in fact, should act as a wake-up call to all the citizens of the city who are traveling on the roads every day as we bring to you this tragic incident today. A girl and her father were charred to death after a transformer exploded after an oil leak was reported in the transformer. Now, what's most unfortunate? That the BESCOM, which is responsible for this, was aware of the issue. There was an alert that had gone out to them. For 3 hours, they sat on the issue, and after that, we saw 2 people being charred to death. Well, reporting from Manganhalli area of Bengaluru city, where what you see right now is the remains of a transformer that exploded into flames, engulfed 2 people on the spot. We saw a video that came out after this incident was reported, and in the video you can see how the girl and her father are struggling. They're crying for help. All of this could have been avoided had the BESCOM attended to this issue. Let's tell you that the Energy Minister of Karnataka, Sunil Kumar, admitted that there was an alert that had gone out to the BESCOM at about 12:50 p.m. on Wednesday, and it was in fact on Friday that in fact we're reporting about this on Friday today. 2 people have died, and yet there's not been any action on ground. For starters, there's not been any arrests in the case. A negligence case has been registered against the BESCOM officials, and the government has now ordered an audit. After waking up to this tragedy, the government has ordered an audit of the transformers. However, this brings us back to the bigger question of people's lives not mattering to the government over here in the state of Karnataka.
And while this sheer negligence of the authorities has led to the death of the father and daughter in Bengaluru, netas remain unfazed. When Times Network asked questions on this tragedy, Karnataka Energy Minister Sunil Kumar evaded. Take a look.
Just one small reaction, sir. Transformer.
Thank you,
No,
my
sir.
dear friend.
No, sir.
Thank you.
So one small reaction.
Yes, sorry.
And my colleague Imran, who actually posted that question to Mr. Sunil Kumar, is live with me on the broadcast. Imran, we saw, how the brazenness is on a full display when it comes to netas there. We're talking about 2 people who've lost their life because of sheer negligence on part of the BESCOM officials and the authorities, despite alerts that were sent out to them. Nothing really was done. And now you have one neta who evades your question. That is the kind of apathy that is on display, and no action, and this brazenness is just out for everybody to see.
Well, absolutely. In fact, what is shameful is that the minister is not even willing to, give a response to what action has been initiated against the officials for their negligence. There has been very clear that, there was, joining with me is also Deputy Leader of Opposition. Sir, there are 2 people's lives are lost in Bengaluru because of the transformers, and there's negligence on the part of the department. No action has been issued against the officials. What do you say as the leader of the opposition? 2 lives have lost. What is your reaction, sir?
See, government has a responsibility, and every life has its own value. And not only 2, plus on potholes also, because of the road, we have one brother he expired due to the accident, due to the potholes. Due to the administration negligence of the government, many lives of the youths have been lost. And the preventive measure have not taken by the government. Action against the officers are not taken. So ultimately, the government is least bothered with the public on any basis.
So, as a deputy leader of the opposition, Mr. UT Kadir, will you raise this issue in the assembly? Yesterday also, this issue came up.
Regarding the death due to the negligence of the administration, we have taken up yesterday. And one is about compensation. The second thing, we should see that this thing doesn't arise again and again. Until we have accountability on the officers and the government takes action against the officers, this won't be prevented because no one will take that responsibility and go forward. I think the government has to come out with one of the strict and deterrent act, which will prevent such type of death due to negligence of the administration.
Thank you, sir. So there you heard the deputy leader of the opposition, Mr. UT Kadir, giving a statement that this is negligence and the government should have taken action against the officers responsible for it.
Absolutely, Imran. Let me take this across to our guests who are joining us on the broadcast. Mohan Krishna of the BJP is joining me live on the broadcast at the moment. Also, Lavanya Balal of the Congress Party. And also on the broadcast is Mr. Pawan Sham, who is an advocate of the Karnataka High Court, and he is joining us in the capacity of an informed citizen of Bengaluru. Now, Mr. Mohan Krishna, I'll take it to you first. You've heard those reactions that have come in, and you've also seen Mr. Sunil Kumar really evading our questions. Your first words here, sir.
Very good afternoon to you. It's a very unseen, unforeseen, tragic happened in Bangalore, and which is very, very bad news for the citizens of the Bangalore. We accept that there was a problem, that the problem was alerted at the midnight at 12:50 in the night. By the time, if they had attended to that, as admitted by the Honorable Minister in the Assembly yesterday, that would have been averted. Anyhow, we can only say sorry at this moment, and we can only grieve to the deceased people who have been left aborted from this world.
Mr. Krishna, I take your point. But I really want to understand. We're talking about two lives which they have lost. The least that the minister could have done was at least address the issue. Don't you think that was pertinent at that time?
I think Mr. Imran was behind him asking. Yesterday in the House, this question was raised by the Suresh Kumar, who is a BJP MLA only. It is not the opposition, as UT Kadir was saying. It was Mr. Suresh Kumar who raised the issue. For that, very promptly and very humbly, the answer has been, he has been answered properly to the House by the Energy Minister, Sunil Kumar, saying that we will do the proper audit. I would like to take a minute here. There are about 450,000 transformers in Bangalore, out of which faulty these things will happen due to the faulty manufacturing defect and aging. Coming to the point, this percentage was around 8.26% at one point of time. Last year, due to the efficiency of this BESCOM only, it has come to 6.18%. Now, we have 45 repairing stations, taluka-wise, and these things will happen more in rural areas. It's very unfortunate in the city. Very rarely it happens. And more than that, the compensation...
Mr. Krishna, the numbers are jargon. The numbers are jargon right now because at the moment we're looking at two lives which have been lost. Lavanya Balal, I'll take this to you. The fact that there is, the apathy of the government in the state is very, very apparent because on the one hand, Bengaluru is battling bad roads, and these bad roads were responsible for the father and daughter duo to actually slow down their scooter right there in front of the transformer which exploded. And then there are leaking transformers also.
Yes. It's very shocking, that we've lost two lives like this due to the apathy of the engineers and the BESCOM department. And like you said, the potholes of Bangalore are quite famous right now, and we have lost multiple lives in Bangalore because of the potholes. My only question here was, why is there such such an attitude when it comes to people's lives. It is not the first time this has happened. And like our BJP spokesperson was saying, yes, there are aging transformers. There was also oil leakage in this transformer. The question is, who is going to be held accountable for the loss of these two lives? It should be the entire department as well as the engineers concerned. And I'm appalled that Minister Sunil Kumar refused to interact with Imran, the journalist from Mirror Now, Times Now. I'm appalled why that he wouldn't respond. Well, it takes 2 seconds to, you know, pass on a condolence message to the family. It may not bring their loved ones back, but at least show that
Yes.
you're concerned. Why are you just walking off like that? That's my question. And the same power minister, he had a huge festival in his own constituency where I think there was electricity spent like water for the 10 days the festival was going on. He himself, I think, started this festival called Karkala Utsav. Um, we don't know for what benefit this festival was made, but we had raised questions as to who is going to pay for the electricity that is going to be spent there. You have to understand Karnataka is reeling under shortage of electricity, and in summer, our farmers are struggling because lack of electricity. This is not single issue. The power department has a lot of challenges in front of it, and they need to face it. And we want to know why the case has not been filed against the engineers who are responsible for this neglect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Mr. Pavan Shram, what good will be a case of negligence in this particular case? Because we're talking about, again, I'm saying this again and again because that's the important thing that I want to highlight. 2 people have lost their life because of the sheer negligence and also the apathy that is on display when it comes to the state of Karnataka. It's not just bad roads that you guys are having to suffer from. Now these leaking transformers. Do you think a case of negligence filed against BESCOM will be enough?
Yes, of course, because this is a case of criminal negligence, which comes under Section 304A of the Indian Penal Code precisely. And the main ingredient is there must be negligence. Now, failure to act on something that I'm supposed to do, and I know if I fail to act, something might happen to someone. So this is a clear case where the BESCOM officials had knowledge that there is something wrong in the transformer in question here, and that if they failed, some harm or some hurt or hazard thing would have happened to someone in the vicinity. So now, because it's generally not so easy to prove an offense under Section 304A, but because this is a transformer and everyone knows how hazardous it is by its nature, so the BESCOM has to be extra cautious while dealing with such instruments. Now, because they already had received a complaint in the morning, I think imputing gross negligence to their conduct would not be difficult at all. I mean, convictions have happened repeatedly in several other states as well, as far as gross negligence in case of transformers are concerned. So I don't think so. And my only fear is that 2 years punishment under Section 304A for death of 2 people is quite insufficient. I mean, that would not serve any justice to the dead people. So it's justified, if they are charged on a higher for a higher section, but unfortunately, that's not so.
Yeah, and that's why I said, is it enough? And I want this to come to Mr. Mohan Krishna. Is the government in the state, Mr. Krishna, looking to do more? Because it's not just a case of negligence. There has to be an arrest that needs to be made when it comes to the people who are guilty. Because remember, like Mr. Pavan Sham rightly said, there was a complaint that was filed. It fell on deaf ears. The authorities did not do anything about it. They had to actually wait for 2 people to lose their life to actually wake up to this particular tragedy in Bengaluru. Another one at that.
I will just take a few seconds repeating what Lavanya said first, and then I will answer to your question. The thing is, Lavanya has forgotten one thing. Mr. Sidramaya was also on a festival mood yesterday. We are watching all these dances and everything. So don't you think that as an opposition leader, he has got also a responsibility when you are talking about the minister? Don't talk about these things.
Mr. Mohan Krishna, let's not make this into a political blame game. We will keep that aside for another debate. Please answer my question right now. We're talking about action. What kind of action are we looking at over here?
Action has been initiated, as stated by the Mr. Pavan. that it is for the first time, it has been admitted. The mistakes has been admitted. We are not debating on that now. We have admitted that
Yes.
there was a problem.
Are we looking at a
we have given the
compensation for the
compensation.
family of the deceased, sir?
We have given the compensation. The officials have gone there to their house, to the next kin of their family. They have handed over the
Okay.
compensation, and audit has been ordered, and you will see better results. Please tell Lavanya, it is not that I can show the figures here. I can show the figures to you. It is 8.27% in 2017, 9%, 10%. That was the faulty transformers they had. Look at the way we are working.
Okay. All right. Mr. Krishna, we have opened our phone lines. We have opened our phone lines after this incident was actually reported out of Bengaluru. Hemraj is joining us on the broadcast from Bengaluru, another citizen from the city, which is obviously riddled with not just potholes, but by these leaking transformers. Now, Hemraj, what is your word on this unfortunate incident that's come to light from Bengaluru?
To improve the quality of transformer, because lots of transformer are not placed properly. Their wires are hanging. It is not very clear. So all the transformer in Bangalore has to be properly placed and properly fence has to be properly put so that this incident doesn't occur. This is my request to BESCOM. BESCOM, they should do it immediately, because this is when you walk on the footpath also, there are a lot of transformers in the middle of the footpath. So they have to do something for this.
All right. Mr. Krishna, you heard Hemraj there, a citizen of the capital city of the state that you are part of. Would you like to answer to him?
No, that's what I'm very sorry, Mr. Hemraj. This should not have happened. As you suggested, we are also very keen on certain improvements to be done to the Bangalore, and especially with regard to the transformers, with respect to the potholes. The other day I was in your show, and we told you that in next 6 months you can see a better Bangalore and a very good Bangalore.
All right. On that note, I'd like to thank all my guests for joining me. It's a very, very unfortunate incident that's come to light from Bengaluru, and because of which we are having this conversation. Let's see if something good can come out of it, because right now, all we know is that 2 lives had to be lost, and for the authorities to wake up. And this disaster is something that Bengaluru has witnessed, and this is not something which is very small. We're talking about a father and a daughter who've had to lose their lives because of a leaking transformer and a bad road that had asked them to that had led them to, slow down their scooter, and after which this particular incident really occurred. So there are too many things that Bengalurians are already dealing with. We did not need something like this to happen for the authorities to really wake up and smell the coffee.